welcome back to Three Kingdoms month. Technically, it's a fortnight because it's 2 weeks, but I didn't want to cause any confusion there with that, so it's Three Kingdoms month, baby. Total War, Three Kingdoms. We've been talking about this game for over a year on this channel, and it'd be foolish to say that at least some of us are not incredibly excited for this game. Better or worse. But what if I told you that there was a way you could play it early, satiate that hunger for a full week before launch? Well, that'd be a filthy lie because you can't. At least, not unless you're on Creative Assembly's good boy list, which I am not, so we're gonna have to play something else instead. Lucky for us, there just so happens to be a fantastic Three Kingdoms mod for Rome Total War. The first one. The only problem with it is that it's technically illegal, because the mod authors edited the EXE and distributed it with the mod, so we can't actually talk about that one. Instead, we actually have an even better mod to talk about. Rise of Three Kingdoms Total War. Rise of Three Kingdoms is a mod for Medieval 2 Total War. It's a total overhaul mod that takes the game from its medieval setting to the year 194 AD, during the rise of the major warlords of the Three Kingdoms era in China. The mod itself is brought to us by a number of fantastic and talented individuals in the Medieval 2 modding scene, including two very well-known names, Gigantus and Seether, taking the helms, so if you're familiar with those guys, you know this mod has a stamp of quality on it. I actually quite enjoy this mod, and it's been doing a good job of tiding me over while waiting for Total War Three Kingdoms, and I feel like it deserves a review because of how damn well done it is. I'm serious about that. Props to the guys who worked on this, it's incredible. See, I can be positive on my channel. This review is for version 3.3 of the mod, so some stuff I mentioned can definitely change, because I can attest this mod certainly changed quite a bit from version 1.0 a few years ago. To download and play this mod, you will need a copy of Medieval 2 Total War and its Kingdoms expansion, either on disc or from Steam, with at least one of the expansion campaigns installed. You will also need to download the latest version of Rise of Three Kingdoms, found on the Total War Center forums, along with its latest patch. Not required, and not necessarily recommended due to legal reasons, but there is a patch that you can apply to your executable that will make the game run smoother, but you'll have to track that one down yourself. First things first, you will notice that the mod borrows a lot of portrait and menu art from the Koei Romance of the Three Kingdoms games, so if you're familiar with those, you'll feel right at home here. As far as the unit models go, some are made from scratch and others are ported, but they've done a great job of making everything look consistent with each other. Naturally, where this mod shines is the campaign, because so much detail has gone into making it. There is of course no shortage of factions to choose, as everyone on the map is playable. Obviously the famous ones like Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Sun Ce, and Lu Bu are here, but you can also try your hand at some others that will be left out of the new Total War game, such as Zhang Lu, Liu Zhang, the Shan Bei, the Nan Man, and even the Korean kingdom of Goguryeo. The campaign map is beautiful, especially in the summer. It is also incredibly large with detailed terrain, and a lot of hard work clearly went into making it as authentic but stylish as possible. Several famous monuments dot the landscape amongst the many cities, towns, and commanderies, and the game also includes several fortified passes and choke points like the famous Sishui and Tong passes from the novels. One of my favorite features about the map is how large they made the Yangtze River, so that you can actually sail ships and transport troops and fight naval battles on it. The mod is very much a love letter to the history, the novel, and also the Koei games. The major factions have a cinematic introduction as well, which rarely sets the mood and tone, and almost every character is present and accounted for in some way. A nice feature is in place where generals belong to an unaligned faction and dot the map, and you can bribe them with diplomats to join your forces. There is also scripting where upon capturing key locations, certain characters will become part of factions as well. It's a great way to simulate the revolving door of characters in the novel and the ever-growing roster of the kingdoms. The major factions of Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Sun Ce, and Yuan Shao also have scripted missions that recreate their original rise as best as possible while still remaining friendly to the sandbox experience, and if you don't want to do them, you can just say no. Generals themselves have been substantially overhauled from base Medieval 2. In addition to core stats such as command and loyalty, generals also have other stats accomplished through scripting such as their acumen, leadership, skill in sieges and ambushes, and so on. There is also a supply system that will regularly require you to return generals to their home regions or face morale penalties if you linger too long in enemy territory. There is also an injury system, where generals can become wounded in battle, and if left untreated, by not garrisoning them in cities for extended periods, they can grow worse and even die from those injuries. This all breathes some much needed life into Medieval 2 and makes it feel incredibly fresh. Battles run smooth and fantastic for the most part. There is unfortunately the occasional repeatable crash simply due to the fact that the more you make Medieval 2 not resemble its original self, the more it tends to poop itself, but these can usually be circumvented by just auto-resolving the battles. These crashes did plague earlier versions of the mod, but I will say in my latest spin of 3.3, I haven't actually really run into any yet. A lot of effort and detail has gone into the battle maps too, especially siege maps. Towns and cities look like they're straight out of Romance of the Three Kingdoms TV shows at times. It's very impressive. And battles are usually quite epic, even during the start of the game, as all factions start with quite a lot of forces leading to some large engagements early on. For instance, in one campaign as Cao Cao, I sent Generals Xiahou Dun and Zhu Chu to lead 2 armies to retake Ding Tao from Lu Bu. Lu Bu's generals Zhang Liao and Zhang Ba arrived with reinforcements for the beleaguered town. The siege of such a small town resulted in a truly epic battle. Zhu Chu's forces, under the command of the AI, held off Zhang Liao's forces outside the city, with the aid of Xiahou Dun and his cavalry. Xiahou Dun's subordinate wrestled the city from Hao Cheng in the meantime. General after general fell in the clash, with Cao Shu, Yu Jin, and Xiahou Dun sustaining heavy injuries. Zhu Chu himself nobly gave his life to keep the enemy at bay, and will be remembered as a hero. In another instance, as Sun Ce with a newly befriended Taishu Ce and Huang Gai in tow, I caught Liu Yao's forces by surprise outside of his capital of Moling, and drew his army into the fields. With the combined might of Jiangdong crossbows and spearmen, Sun Ce took up a defensive position in the trees and repelled not 1, not 2, but 3 assaults from Liu Yao's forces, and captured him in battle. When Liu Yao's court could not pay the hefty ransom price Sun Ce demanded for his safe return, he was put to the sword, leaving his lands ripe for the taking. And those are just moments early in the game. As you can imagine, as the game goes longer, the chance for exciting clash after exciting clash escalates. Overall, if you love the Total War series, love Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and own Medieval 2 Kingdoms, this mod is well worth your time and is a ton of fun. And it might also be a good fallback, just in case, you know. But let's not jinx ourselves. Rise of Three Kingdoms, in my opinion, deserves a place alongside some of the best Medieval 2 mods of all time, such as Third Age and Stainless Steel. And despite being a mod, it's one of the best takes out there on the Three Kingdoms period in terms of a strategy game, at least in my opinion. Go give it a shot. And stay tuned for the next part of Three Kingdoms Month, where we'll be taking a look at some well-known movies and shows. Until then, lads, you have a fantastic day.